Hello, everyone. It's Debbie Chen. We just here with the only essentials for you. Basically, hey, if you're over 40 and you're a woman, you ain't got no time for fluff and stuff. Just the essentials. And that's what we really talk about here. So today's topic is all about self-care. And what I'm talking about is, you know what, sometimes that self-care is messy. So I'm not talking about the spa days and the manicures and that kind of thing, but we're going to go in a little bit deeper. Hey, Connie, good to see you. So this is something that's a topic that's really near and dear to my heart, and I know I'm speaking to the tribe out there. Hey, Sandra, thank you for joining in. We're in that journey of, you know what, we're not only literally sloughing off the dry, dead skin, as we get a little older, and the weather right here in Southern California is pretty dry and so forth. And so, yeah, we're literally sloughing it off. But we're also, I don't know about you guys, anyone else like doing some major reevaluating? Hey, Adam, good to see you. Reevaluating of stuff that we have. And that's something I'm really leaning towards, that whole minimalist movement, or at least simplify. Anyone else with me on that? You can just comment below or just give me a high five or thumbs up or a like or whatever. But so I know that I'm talking to the choir here. But it just makes sense. And especially as we're getting older, we don't need the stuff, right? What's more important, stuff or people? I would rather just slough off the stuff and make more room for things that are important. Is that an amen with anyone else? So also part of that is our self-care. And self-care really isn't always pretty. And in fact, it can be pretty messy, but in a really beautiful way. I don't know, is anyone else kind of going through that journey too, of really just re-emerging and reawakening and really taking stock and inventory of our lives and just really making some other choices and actually looking back with a very different perspective on our tough times. Has anybody gone through crud in their lives? Hey, Crystal, thanks for joining in from all the way from the East Coast, girl. Oh, that's not too late. You're not a pumpkin yet. So anyway, so in talking about self-care and reevaluating, I know for myself, I can look back on really tough times. Hey, I'm going to be really raw and really real here. We've gone through some stuff that parents, I would not wish on any parents to go through. We've gone through bankruptcies. We've gone through almost losing our house. Like I said, in some issues with one of our sons. And I wouldn't wish any of that on anyone, really, truly. But I also look back and I see that there were so many lessons that were learned, that even when my rebel without a cause was doing his thing and bringing us into that storm, that at the same time I look back, and while he was doing his thing and really needing to go through kind of those growing pains, I really felt like, you know what, that was my wake-up call. Anyone can relate to that? That even though it was kind of like unintended, that some of the side benefits were that you got to grow in that? Anyone? You can kind of just comment below or whatnot. But that kind of talking about the self-care, that it really can, one of the myths is that everybody has the same journey. Well, no, it's different for different people. So there might be emotional healing that needs to go on, whether you're dealing with a trauma or, you're disappointed in things from life. Or anybody have any regrets? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, me too. And maybe these things were either caused by us or caused to us. And one of the essential oils that I use if I start to just, kind of dredge up some of the past and really need to heal emotionally, is I actually use myrrh. And myrrh is the oil of nurturing, kind of like when a mom gives you a nice hug. You can take a couple drops of myrrh with some fractionated coconut oil and rub that over your solar plexus, your core, around your belly button. And it's very nurturing and comforting feeling. But sometimes people too, they have physical healing that needs to happen. So especially as we're getting older, we were talking about skincare, maybe it's fitness. And maybe those things are kind of starting to smack us upside the head and like, okay, girl, start walking or swimming or something, right? Maybe there's spiritual healing, and that could even include having more of an attitude of gratitude and also really maybe that might be on the journey of really knowing who your creator is. Also, mental healing. One of the biggest things I see is not being aware of our self-talk and how we allow other people to talk to us, and how we can actually literally and physically take some negative, like, hey, you're not worth it, or you have no value, or you're stupid, or one of those things. And we actually bring that into our bodies and we make that our own. And it's oftentimes actually a cause of so many diseases that we have nowadays. And so one of the ways, actually, too, if I know I'm going to go into somewhat of a negative situation, or it's going to be stressful, or there might be some people that are like a little negative, I'll actually use melaleuca or tea tree oil, put a couple drops, I'll put it on the back of my neck. And it's almost like you have a protective barrier and you don't bring home their circus or their monkeys. Anyone? Like, yeah, amen. So another thing about self-care is that change is okay. Okay, I know as we get older, like, change gets a little uncomfortable. You know what? But it's really, really okay. Because when we start to like look at our past, we just start to understand and accept stuff that has happened or things that's gone on, that then and start accepting it, we can actually start moving on. And another experience, I dealt with an issue where I was shamed for, or became a scapegoat for some other stuff that was going on. And it was by people that normally would be in a position of great levels of trust. And it took me a long time to finally get to the point where now I actually feel sorry for them for how they treat people and so forth. And I'm kind of beyond that, and I'm looking back, and it's just maybe more discerning. Has anyone else had that kind of experience? Yeah. And with that comes that sense of closure. And with that closure comes healing. And with that comes the personal breakthroughs and the growth. And actually, some of the oils that I've been using for that are blends that help with forgiving. Who else? You know what? Can I say, like, is that a bottle that has an oil blend for forgiving should be like ginormous, right? There's a lot of healing that goes on with forgiving. I also use a blend that is very good for consoling, and that doesn't mean just for the grief for someone who's died, but it could be just simply consoling through a change. A child that leaves the house to become an empty nester, a child that graduates, maybe unfortunately maybe a parent who passes on. And yeah, thanks, Crystal. But I tell you, this is why I'm talking about this. I think it's so important that we're not holding on to this, that I don't mean this flippantly, but kind of getting past it. There's a whole lot of healing going on, and there's a whole process between A and Z. But you know what? It is totally okay if it's messy and ugly. That's why, hence the title, because there's just a whole lot of healing that's going on. And another quick too is, personally, when I started doing some more of that emotional healing and really realizing there were certain issues that I just literally would stuff down with food. Once I started realizing that, now I've dropped already 40 pounds. And that was strictly emotional healing. So that's definitely another thing. If you want to know more about that and what I've been doing, you can more than welcome to comment below, and I'll share some of the things that I've been doing for that. But also, number 3 and last point is that growth is not going to be overnight. I know. I'm one of those kind of persons that like, I want it now. Let's move on. I want this now. But I also realize, like, so if you can imagine, it would be like taking if you were ready to take a nice warm shower and all this stuff, and all of a sudden someone dumped a bucket of ice water on your head. You're like, right? I think probably if we were to have all this growth and healing going on so quickly, do you think maybe it would kind of shock our bodies? Yeah, probably mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, yeah, everything. So just that, to trust in that process, that it's not overnight. We can do it messy, we can do it ugly, but as long as we're doing it. So hopefully this was of value. Hopefully there were some nuggets, comment below, or any, any thoughts, please. I want a conversation going on, not just me talking here. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Alrighty, or during the day. Yeah, no, it'll be tomorrow night. All right, we'll see you then. Bye.